Minnesota. I do highly recommend it if you're going to be here in the winter and you're not used to driving in the snow or on the icy roads. Then I would really recommend that you stay somewhere like downtown Minneapolis or downtown St. Paul, so that you can walk to a lot of different places, and then you have access to like ride sharing services. The neighbors are always so loud. May I ask, why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? Anyway, you can have access to ride sharing services anywhere, but obviously it will be quicker and more efficient if you are somewhere that's more in or around downtown Minneapolis or St. Paul, especially because people in people who do ride sharing services, I feel like I still need to talk a lot slower. I feel that people who do ride sharing services for their job are more likely to stay and hover around the downtown areas, because that's where a lot of people who travel go. They stay downtown. Growing up in North Dakota, there was we oftentimes stayed downtown, in downtown Minneapolis specifically. Growing up, we never went to St. Paul. I don't think we literally ever did. I don't know if the first time I stepped foot in St. Paul was when I was like much older, or maybe even after high school, because I had no need to go to St. Paul. When we were younger, we would go to Minneapolis for concerts, and we would also, when we were much younger, typically speaking, go to Bloomington, which is a suburb just south of Minneapolis. And did I say Bloomberg? Sorry, I kind of zoned out. Bloomington, is that what I had said? Anyway, Bloomington is south of Minneapolis, and so it's good to go there because that is where the Mall of America is. If you've never been to the Mall of America, I will say that it's cool. There's rides on the inside in the center of the mall, like amusement park style rides, but much safer. I've never heard of somebody getting sick or anything like that at the Mall of America, but it happened all the time at my local fair. Isn't that how it is? Like, have you ever been to a local fair? If you live in the United States, probably speaking, you have. Outside of the United States, do you have annual fairs in the summertime or when it's warmer outside? Because we had that for us, and I know many places across the United States have that. Growing up, I could only ever be on rides for like 2 or 3 rides, and I would have to be done sometimes even only 1 ride. because I also have POTS now, which makes it worse. If I wanted to go on an amusement park ride, I'd be more likely to faint. So it's just not a good idea for me. So if I were to go on a ride, I would go on a log chute ride. That reminds me of miniature golf. I don't know about y'all, but I think mini golf is quite literally the best first date idea. That or just like an ice cream shop date. Somewhere where you don't have to be there for super long. You can be done with the date after it's done, unless you really want to continue it. But for me, when I go on dates, I cannot go more than an hour and a half, or else I just feel way too overstimulated. Like, I have a lot of dates have gone beyond that, but for me, I need time to de-stress and take in information, and that way, if you don't like the other person, or the other person doesn't like you, you can have time to be away from them and not elongate the date. And mini golf is a fun date, so it gets people loosey-goosey a little bit more. People are less. I think if at least you're with the right person on the date, you can open up more and have more fun. People are less likely to, I think, be to themselves. It just feels a lot less rigid, and it feels more fun, and you're moving around. And I just think people, when there's movement, like even a walk at the park is a good idea, but not for me because I have IBS. 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 So because of that, I always need to be near a restroom, and I get very anxious for all first few dates. So I especially need to be near a restroom in that case. Parks do not always have restrooms that are open for the public, and if they do, then they're not always the best. And depending on where you live, you don't have access to public restrooms. If you live in a small town like Fargo, like how I grew up, you can stop literally anywhere and go to the bathroom. I used to do DoorDash mainly. I also did Grubhub, but not many people would order through Grubhub, so I mainly sticked to DoorDash. So whenever I would be at these restaurants, I would go to the bathroom, not every single time, but I would still go to the bathroom. I don't know if you would be able to go to the bathroom just in a bigger city because of access to public restrooms. So even people all across the Twin Cities area, the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, have signs up saying no public restrooms, which is scary for somebody like me. So if I'm a paying customer somewhere, then that's a good idea. just became very hyper aware of my voice right now. Anyway, isn't that crazy when you become hyper aware of of something you are saying or doing? That doesn't typically happen to me during these videos, but usually it's not with my voice when it does happen, so I don't know. Anyway, have any of you ever gone on a mini golf date? Like a first or even second date? I have not, because I haven't had access to mini golf in those instances. There's a place, I don't know if it's still around, in Fargo called Thunder Road, and it's open primarily in the summer, and it has outdoor miniature golf, and there's two separate parts of miniature golf for that. Different courses, two separate courses, but people all the time would go to the other course without paying for the other course, so they should, if they want to really monitor that better, then they should really have somebody watching over that. But it's a lot of young college and high school aged people working, so I think a lot of the times they don't care very much. But I've been miniature golfing with with a couple different partners before, but never for a first date. I was already dating these people. But that would be such a good idea. Anyway, what I was saying before was that you can see on these dates if people are so hyper competitive right off the bat. I personally am not very competitive, actually. I used to be sometimes, depending on the situation and the circumstances when I was younger. But other than that, I don't know. Nowadays, I just want everybody to be safe and have fun. So as long as people are having fun, I will encourage people to, if somebody wants to try their best at miniature golf on a first date and they're trying to beat me, I will just keep cheering them on. Hopefully they do not buzz here. That would suck if the people buzzed here, especially because we are almost done. Why do they keep buzzing? Should I just go and let them in for them? Maybe. I think they may have gotten let in. No, they're still buzzing. Oh, now they finally got let in. I know for these videos, people say they don't care about background noise, so I'm just gonna leave it as is, especially because it's toward the end of the video. We only have a minute left. I was gonna talk about this thing, but see, when I ramble, I can talk about anything. When I'm rambling about stuff, I always am getting visuals, and then it leads me to other visuals. I have what I believe is called hyperphantasia, which a subscriber pointed out to me. You know who you are, because they said they have that, and I know about aphantasia, where people can't visualize, but I can visualize. Right now I'm visualizing. I am visualizing